Hello and welcome to the CEO message from AmCham for June 2017. I send this to you from Canberra, where I am today doing some important advocacy work. I think I'd like to dedicate this entire message to the issue of advocacy because I think many people know AmCham through the networking events that we do, the trade missions that we run, the great speakers that we have, but a much smaller sort of inner circle of AmCham are aware of and in some cases involved in the advocacy work that we do on really important issues. Today in Canberra we'll be meeting with a number of members of our board of directors, with ministers, the staffs of ministers, and other officials who have been part of the 457 revision process. It has been interesting to see how strong the reaction has been from our membership and that of other business organizations to the proposed changes in the 457 program. Basically, we're here in Canberra today to make sure that we don't, as they say, throw the baby out with the bathwater. It's been a program that's brought lots of talent and lots of IP transfer to Australia over many, many years. We want to make sure that that continues. So wish us luck and follow the program. I'm pretty optimistic that the government in Australia will make the changes necessary to retain the benefits of what we've known as the 457 program. That's just one example of advocacy that has really come to the fore without much warning in recent weeks. Our tax committee, which is very ably led by Chris Morris of PwC, is another example. We spent an entire day in Canberra in March lobbying different ministers and their offices on aspects of tax policy changes and proposed changes that AmCham members would be affected by. I think we made a real difference. And just on Friday, I'll be flying to Washington, D.C. with a number of AmCham members. I think there's 9 in our delegation this year to lobby the Trump administration. We're going to be meeting with Congress. I think most of you know that the atmosphere for tax reform in the United States is probably as positive as it's been in decades. In fact, the last tax reform in the United States was 1986, so it's even more than a once-in-a-generation opportunity. So we'll be knocking on doors, we'll be meeting the new people that are populating the Trump administration and making sure particularly how important we see a prospective change from a global taxation system by the U.S. to a territorial taxation system. This would have many positive effects for the competitiveness of American business globally, but it would also relieve the problem that we have here in Australia, where the IRS is taxing both accumulations in people's superannuation accounts and withdrawals from people's superannuation accounts. So we want to change that. That's not the only advocacy we'll be doing. AmCham remains a very pro-trade organization. We'll be meeting with USTR and others to just press the case for free trade. Yes, the Trump administration very dramatically abandoned the Trans-Pacific Partnership, but that's not the end of the story. The issues that are out there that were really behind the need for the TPP remain. We still have complex global supply chains for which rules of origin need to be in place. We have competition with state-owned enterprises. We have the entire digital economy and the cloud. And what are the rules that are going to govern that? We have views on that, and we'll be joining forces with other AmChams from the Asia-Pacific region to make make our views known. So there you go. There's just a few examples of really big issues in which AmCham is weighing in. For those of you who are members and are watching this, thank you for your support. If you're not a member of AmCham, I hope I've given you one more reason to consider joining us. Now, I mentioned networking events and trade missions. We've got a number of things coming up later this year that are worthy of your attention. Just some of the events that we have coming up. I'll start with trade missions. The month of October, we're going to have 3. We'll have one that we're doing with Austrade that runs starting the 9th of October to 4 different American states. We have a defense and security mission that's being led by our chairman, Maureen Doherty of Boeing. That's the 15th to the 20th of October. We'll be going to Virginia, Washington, D.C., and then we'll be finishing up at the Austell Shipyard in Mobile, Alabama. You'll want to see that. Shipbuilding has become a very important issue in Australia. Let's go see what the Aussies are doing in the United States so successfully. And then finally, our annual innovation mission. We'll be running that from Boston to Silicon Valley at the end of October. We start on the 29th of October and then end up in Silicon Valley on the 3rd of November. So please join us for that. Those are great missions, all of them. The infrastructure mission in particular builds on what President Trump said today, this week, about the potential for $1 trillion, that's with a T, in investment and spending to, as he would put it, make America great again. Let's see what the opportunities are there for Australians who actually have quite a bit of background in this area. In terms of upcoming events in Adelaide on the 22nd of June, I'd like to call your attention to our Innovators to Entrepreneurs Changemaker series. It's a panel event. Out in Perth on the 21st of June, we have the CEO of the Mindero Foundation talking about philanthropy, Nicola Forrest of the Forrest family. You won't want to miss that. And then on the 7th of July in Brisbane, we're doing a panel discussion about trade, tourism, and travel with the United States. That will be exciting in a state that is so dependent on tourism for its economy. And then in Melbourne on July 18th, we're doing an innovation mission in the southeast portion of the Melbourne metropolitan area. You can go visit places like Monash University, CSIRO, the synchrotron. This is a real door opener opportunity to see what kind of innovation is going on right here in Australia. Finally, I'd like to just thank a number of new members who've taken the step to join AmCham Australia since the last message. King and Wood Mallisons are back as a member. Pelican Products, Tennant CS, Slidemaster, Bechtel Australia. That's a big deal. They're the ones who've built all the LNG plants around Australia in recent years. Remote Research Ranges, Manfred Neustaedter, Flowpay Australia, Subsea 7 Australia Contracting, and finally Re-Risk. If you haven't joined AmCham, we'd still love to have you in our community, so consider joining this group of smart companies who've taken the plunge. Thanks a lot. I'll talk to you